FM 107.9 AM 990. Online, KWAMthevoice.com. We're also streaming live on YouTube. Just go find the YouTube channel. Very simple. Nation of Jake. You can also follow along on Facebook and Twitter at Nation of Jake on this Friday, July 5th, year of our Lord 2019. Still in the Independence Day weekend. Partly cloudy, 89 degrees, 94 the high today. Some thunderstorms in the forecast for the weekend. A little rain earlier today, so we'll see how that rolls out. I hope you enjoyed your July 4th weekend. Are still enjoying it. A lot of people got the day off, got the whole damn weekend off. Not me, I'm here. So if you're out and about getting stuff done, listening to the show, or if you're like me, you're at work, you can always follow along, or you can call me if you wanted today at 260-5926. That's 260-KWAM. Now, I spent Independence Day with my dependents, mostly. And the little fish girls jumped in the pool at about noon. Didn't get out till about 6:30. They swam all day long. They got out for a second, had some cheese and crackers and some snacks, and then they stayed up for fireworks, and they were zonked, man. They were out like a light at about 10:30 last night. I tried to get into that Stranger Things, but I fell asleep. So, yeah, it was a big day yesterday. Hope you enjoyed the 4th. Hope you had a safe one. I hope there were no fires. I hope there were fireworks, but no fires. And as we go along today and over the weekend, we're going to hear the stories about people burning their own houses down, people blowing off their fingers, and all that stuff. But those stories don't come out immediately. Usually it's the next week before you hear about all the fireworks mishaps. But we'll keep our eye out for them here today on July 5th. Now, we got a Friday show full of our usual Friday stuff, most of it. We definitely have the what the hell stories, some July 4th what the hell stories mixed in there for today. We've also got more reports of shark attacks going on. You know, every summer you've got reports of shark attacks, and it always seems like shark attacks are becoming more common. I'm not sure that's the case. We'll get into that. Your chances of being attacked by a shark this summer, what are they, and are they going up? We'll also catch up on the 2020 race. It seems like Joe Biden has got himself in a fight. That's right. He was kind of hanging back as the front runner, but he's been challenged. And so Joe Biden has gone on the offensive in a CNN interview that is aired today. We'll also catch up with Ron Hart, nationally syndicated columnist, about Independence Day and also what's going on with the market. We got like this big jobs report, 224,000 jobs created. Unemployment is still very low, but we had the stock market kind of take a dip. It's like, why is that an inverse relationship? Kind of see what's going on with the economy. Ron Hart can help us on that. And, of course, we'll get into the news cruise. But first, we have to turn our attentions to the salute to America. Donald Trump's salute to America on the National Mall at the Lincoln Memorial on the 4th of July. Now, we were told this was something a dictator would do. A dictator would have tanks in the streets. And when you describe it like that Donald Trump has tanks in the streets, and that evokes visions of countries, a military coup, dictators, authoritarian regimes, tanks in the streets. At least that's what it was leading up to it all week. And it's not what it was at all. It doesn't seem that way. We have here a couple different accounts of Donald Trump's salute to America. Here we go. Trump defies ominous predictions with nonpartisan July 4th salute to American spirit. President Trump struck a patriotic, nonpartisan, and unifying note during his address at the 4th of July celebrations in Washington, D.C., as the massive crowd of attendees avoided clashes despite provocations from protesters. The event defied critics who said the celebration on Thursday would be a partisan political spectacle and that it would not even attract a significant crowd. CBS, ABC, NBC, and MSNBC snubbed the celebration and did not air it live, save for their online streaming platforms. He had a massive crowd gather on the Lincoln Memorial despite the rain, with Trump later tweeting an aerial photo showing an audience that filled both sides of the memorial's reflecting pool and stretched to the Washington Monument. The president used the speech to call on Americans to stay true to our cause and praised American heroes, including the armed forces and civil rights leaders. I've got some clips of Trump's speech he gave, and in the rain that did not subdue the crowds, it didn't seem, or the fireworks, or the celebration as a whole. Let's take a listen to what he had to say.
The Continental Army suffered a bitter winter of Valley Forge, found glory across the waters of the Delaware, and seized victory from Cornwallis of Yorktown. Our Army manned the airport. It ran the ramparts. It took over the airports. It did everything it had to do. And at Fort McHenry, under the rocket's red glare, it had nothing but victory. And when dawn came, their star-spangled banner waved defiant.
Well, there you have it. He kind of gives you the whole rundown. Other than the airports thing, I don't know what the hell airports were around in the 1770s. And that's really what everybody's focused on, is this snub. He didn't write the speech, I don't think. Well, who put airports in there? I mean, when did George Washington say, seize the airports? Get to JFK immediately. TSA be damned. I'm not sure that there were airports. I don't think that manned flight was invented until much, much later. So why would you have an airport? And I'm almost certain that somebody somewhere is going to rush to Trump's defense and say, well, here's what he really meant. There were airports, you see. They were just called something different. So anyway, but the fact that everybody's just hung up on the goofy airport thing kind of tells you it wasn't the partisan hackery that we were warned about. Trump went on to pay tribute to the U.S. Border Patrol and U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement and hailed Harriet Tubman and Frederick Douglass, African Americans who helped campaign to abolish slavery over 100 years ago, as great Americans. So it seemed pretty inclusive. Visuals, flyovers by every branch of the military, a display of tanks and other military hardware, the president rallying Americans before the Lincoln Memorial drew complaints from critics that Trump was politicizing the holiday while flexing U.S. military might to an uncomfortable degree. It really wasn't to an uncomfortable degree. Couple of tanks, couple of old M1A1 Abrams tanks. You know, whenever you go and see displays of military vehicles, I mean, they don't really seem intimidating until they're in a big fleet. You know, go look at Willie's Jeep military. A lot of vehicles that we see are based on military prototypes, right? So you see a tank kind of out of place on the National Mall. It's not like it's Tiananmen Square, right? I mean, we're not seeing, tanks rolling on a town like the National Guard is out. And it's completely different. So anyway, we were led to believe that this was going to be all terrible. This was so bad. He's hijacking the 4th of July. It's going to be a big MAGA rally. This is what dictators do. This is Kim Jong-un. This is Vlad Putin. This is what they do in places like France. Yeah, France. That's where he got the idea. Yeah, he was over in France, and they had their whole Bastille Day commemorations in 2017, and he saw they had tanks on display. Now, nothing says oppressive regime and military-industrial complex like France does it. So, look, you've had Joe Biden saying that this was just to stroke his own ego. Another 2020 candidate, Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, said that the event was a waste of money. He's having a parade for himself. Yeah, that's what makes me laugh about all that, is that all of a sudden, these Democrats are fiscal hawks. Like they're all of a sudden worried about the price of stuff. They're the ones who want to pay everybody's student loan off. They want to give everybody free healthcare, free everything, and they're worried about how much something costs. I mean, I like to line it up and see how much more it cost than the July 4th celebrations of yesteryear. Was it that far out of whack? I don't know. But even CNN, who was guilty of their whole rundown of how bad this is, military leaders are uncomfortable with having tanks rolling on D.C. for the 4th of July. They don't like the partisan nature of what Donald Trump is doing, even though it turns out that it wasn't partisan, that his speech was actually, as outlined by CNN's Stephen Collinson. Check this out. CNN goes on, let's say on Wednesday, the day before the 4th, and all their articles are about how this is controversial and this is something a dictator would do, and this is politicizing the 4th of July, and this is Trump's taxpayer-funded MAGA rally, right? Well, today at CNN.com, it's funny because they've just got one piece about the salute to America. It's an analysis by Stephen Collinson, and it goes as follows. Trump calls bluff of critics in July 4th speech. President Donald Trump was as good as his word on Thursday. He saluted America. In one of the least polarizing speeches of his presidency, Trump paid tribute to America's armed forces, Trump paid tribute to America's armed forces at a July 4th appearance before the Lincoln Memorial in Washington that unfolded amid stormy skies and criticism that he was politicizing the nation's Independence Day celebrations. Trump's speech lacked the dark imagery of many of his campaign speeches and struck more of an optimistic tone that he typically adopts. Trump spoke as critics accused him of exploiting the nation's birthday party for his own political ends in an event he had dubbed a salute to America. Trump's speech lacked the partisan rhetoric of his rallies, but the event nevertheless bolstered the president's narrative that he's a strong commander-in-chief and a decisive leader. Well, listen, the president, if he does anything, he stands to gain from, the coverage, from raising his profile as president. It's called the bully pulpit for a reason, and one of the main reasons that incumbents are very hard to beat. So he gave a speech. It wasn't partisan. The tanks didn't roll on D.C. in an intimidating, authoritarian fashion at the end of the evening. They had fireworks. It just seemed like they built this up to be the worst thing in the world, and then afterwards they're like, oh, never mind. Very Emily Latella from SNL back in the day. Gilda Radner, God rest her soul. So there you have it. That's what it was. You probably didn't see it. I guess Fox News was the only outlet covering any of this or carrying any of it on the TV. If you wanted to check it out online, I guess you could. But who's doing that on the 4th of July? Who's watching TV? Who's sitting around? Got to be out by the pool hanging out. Maybe going to the beach. Maybe, I don't know, people might not be going to the beach much. Because, number one, down on the Gulf Coast, they've got this blue-green algae that's making people sick. That's happening down there. I know at least where I have family in Bay St. Louis, they can't go to the beach. And closing the beach on the 4th of July, that's a serious decision. Say if you're the mayor of Amity Island. So maybe some of these reports of shark attacks that have been in the news all summer long, maybe that has depressed the attendance at the beach. But you really shouldn't be worried about shark attacks, all right? Because there are numbers, a lot of numbers that say no matter what the media tells you, no matter how many shark attacks they report on, shark attacks are not on the rise. In fact, you would be shocked at just how slim the chances are of being attacked by a shark, even if you're in the ocean. We'll get into that and more next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
When's the last time you looked at the windows in your house? Not through the windows, but at the windows. Really looked at them. There's dirt, streaks, buildup, smudges, fingerprints, paw prints, spider webs, dead bugs. There's little white speckles. I have no idea what they are, and who knows what else. Now, cleaning all the windows in your house makes a big difference, but it's also a big job. That's why you need Just Windows Home Services. Just Windows has been taking the pain out of window cleaning since 1992. Just Windows cleans all types of windows, storm windows, screens, skylights, interior, exterior, upstairs and down. Now, I know I told you the company is called Just Windows Home Services, but they do a lot more. Roof and gutter cleaning, pressure washing, mirrors, blinds, ceiling fans, light fixtures, chandeliers. Look, if you've got hard to reach areas of the house, then you need Just Windows Home Services. Call for a free estimate, 751-3934. That's 751-3934, or get them online at justwindowsmemphis.com. That's justwindowsmemphis.com.
Planning for retirement can be confusing and overwhelming. Tune in to the Servant Retirement Show to hear the current news and events today's retirees need to know. Every Saturday morning at 8 on KWAM, The Voice, AM 990. If you want to talk to Dan Groban or Philip Menard today about your retirement plans, call the team at Servant Advisors Group, 855-260-1000. That's 855-260-1000. Get started on the path toward a comfortable retirement today. 855-260-1000.
When you're planning an event and need on-time delivery, call Odell Sanders. Sanders Catering has been in business for 31 years, specializing in breakfast, lunch, dinners, corporate, and social events. When you need a caterer to work with your budget, call Odell Sanders at 901-372-2631 or visit them online at sanderscatering.com and take a look at their menu. Sanders Catering, a leader in catering services. Call today at 901-372-2631.
Is it a good time to buy or refi? Is it a buyer's market or a seller's market? Are interest rates going sky high soon? Hi, I'm Ludi Calloway, the mortgage lady at iBank Mortgage. I tell my customers to ask questions, get answers. So join me every Monday morning at 8 and I will tell you what's going on in today's still changing mortgage world. Remember, most people think about mortgages a few times in their lives. I think about them every single day. Tune in Mondays at 8.
When you went car shopping, you meant business. You aced vehicle history searches and test drives. You out-salesmaned the salesman. Now you've got your wheels. If you manage that, you can get your retirement plan on track. Visiting aceyourretirement.org can help. With 401k tips and smart saving strategies, you'll have the info you need to get more for your future. Go to aceyourretirement.org, because when it comes to speeding past financial challenges, you're an ace. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
I talk with healthcare professionals to bring you the latest wellness information Tuesdays and Thursdays on Live Life Well. Listen in and get tips like this to help you get started on your road to wellness.
The highest hurdle most of us ever get over is getting started on doing something every day. Start with a 5-minute walk every day. Have some comfort close by bedside. Jump on your treadmill, your stationary bike, or your sidewalk. Do 5 minutes and then go take a shower and get ready for your morning.
I'm Bernadette Davis, and I've got you covered every Tuesday and Thursday on Live Life Well. Listen in during the Mary Beth Conley Show, streaming live on KWAM, The Voice.
Did Jesus promise to return within the first century generation? Discover why atheists, Muslims, Jews, and even some Christians believe that Jesus is a liar and the Bible is false. Join William Bell for discussion on the end times and Bible prophecy on the All Things Fulfilled Eschatology broadcast Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. on KWAM 990 and FM 107.9. Listen on Facebook at KWAM The Voice.
If you're thinking about buying or selling a home, stop. Don't do anything until you talk to my man, James Underwood. James Underwood has been helping people like you navigate the Mid-South real estate market for more than a decade. So whether you're looking to buy your first home or you want to upgrade to your forever home, James Underwood can help make it happen. No gimmicks, no guarantees, just a rock-solid guy that I've known for 25 years. So now, if you're looking to buy or sell a home, hit up James Underwood with CryLike. JamesUnderwood.crylike.com. That's JamesUnderwood.crylike.com. All right, welcome back to it.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9 AM 990. We're online, KWAMTheVoice.com. Streaming live on YouTube, the YouTube channel, Nation of Jake. Subscribe and share it with your friends. Tell them to also subscribe to the Nation of Jake on YouTube. And don't forget, Facebook and Twitter, both Nation of Jake, as well as Instagram. All right, so this 4th of July weekend, I'm seeing a lot of photos on the Instagram of my friends celebrating, say with their kids, family, down on the Gulf Coast of Mississippi, where many of my family hail from. They can't even go in the water down there. I would never recommend even going in that water when it's safe. All right, it's brown. It's gross. It's not the clear crystal water of Navarre Beach, Florida. It's Mississippi. It's the Bay. All right, and they get real mad, my family, when I always point that out. I'm like, I'm not going in that nasty water. You guys sent me out there when I was a kid, and it was gross. I'm not going in that water. I will not do it. I'll get out in a boat in the water, and it's fine. But right now, they've got like some kind of blue-green algae, some overflow from some fresh water in the rivers, and it's gotten into the bay, and they've closed the beaches. And as we know from watching Jaws, you close the beach on the 4th of July. I mean, you're going to take a hit monetarily. You can't close the beach on the 4th of July, not on Amity Island, not in Bay St. Louis, Mississippi, not in Pascagoula, Mississippi. You can't do it. That's why people go down there, especially right on the beachfront, and Airbnbs and restaurants and stuff. With the beaches closed, big decision to be made. Now, people have long been afraid to go in the water because of what lurks beneath. And because Peter Benchley wrote the book Jaws way back when. And in 1975, it was made into a film, one of the greatest films of all time, like Steven Spielberg's second movie. Legendary film, Jaws. Then you had Jaws 2. Then you had Jaws 3D. Then you had Jaws 4, The Revenge, which was awful. One of the worst films I've ever seen in my life. That said, Peter Benchley, I think, went on record as saying he regrets having written Jaws because it made people afraid of sharks. And then you've got now, all the social media, and you've got all these reporters who go out and they report on, say, a shark attack, an isolated incident from a shark. And then every time there's another shark sighting or attack, it all gets woven together into a narrative that somehow shark attacks are rising. Like it's more dangerous to go in the water. That shark attacks are more prevalent, say, in the summer of 2019 than years past. And you can't help but think that whenever you go to a news site and you see multiple stories about shark attacks. I mean, it's just how you process the information. Well, we've got some actual information about the shark attacks, okay? Don't believe what you see in the media all bunched together like a whole section of shark attack stories. Don't think just because it's being reported on often that it's happening more often. This summer, it's safe to go in the water, according to NBC News. Despite a recent handful of shark attacks and sightings in the Atlantic Ocean, experts say 2019 is shaping up to be an average year in terms of encounters. They like to use the word encounters and not attacks so much because a shark is not trying to eat you, all right? Sharks don't like to eat people. They're not out there. They're looking for fish. Sharks like to eat fish. Experts also say that the global average of shark attacks is trending downward. Actually, so there's no rise in shark attacks. It's trending downward. That also might be because shark attacks are so widely reported that people are not going into the ocean. Therefore, the amount of shark encounters go down. You're more likely to die taking a selfie than being bitten by a shark, according to Tyler Bowling, manager of the Florida Program for Shark Research. The odds are crazy. I looked it up. You have a 1 in 11.5 million chance of being attacked by a shark. That's just considering people who go to the beach. I mean, it's even lower if you're just hanging out here in Memphis, say on your back porch. I believe that the chances are 0 in 11.5 million or just 0. You will not get attacked by a shark if there's no shark present. Now, 1 in 264 million are the chances you have of being fatally attacked by a shark. Being killed by a shark, your chances are 1 in 264 million. All right. You're more likely to die from fireworks, lightning, drowning, a car crash, a stroke, heart disease, and as we're told now by Tyler Bowling here, you're more likely to die taking a selfie than being eaten by a shark. But in June, Jonathan Hernandez, a professional boat captain and fisherman from Florida, was bitten by a shark while spearfishing in the Bahamas. Just days before that, Jordan Lindsay, age 21, died after being attacked by a shark while snorkeling with her family in the Bahamas. You also had 3 people from North Carolina bitten by sharks in June. An 8-year-old boy was bitten while swimming off Bald Head Island. North Carolina teenager Paige Winter lost her leg and several fingers when she was attacked while swimming in Fort Macon. And Austin Reed is recovering from a shark bite to his foot when he was surfing at the state's Ocean Isle beach. So in the summer months, when more people are visiting beaches and swimming, say, in the water, it can lead to more encounters because humans are entering shark territory. This is not difficult. In the summer, you hear about more because it happens more often in the summer than in other months. But year to year, you're not seeing any more shark attacks. If there are more people in the water, there's more encounters. Very simple, according to Mike Heithaus, a marine biologist at Florida International. They're big predators. We need to respect them. But in most areas of the world, shark populations are down. Really, what it comes down to is that we kill way more sharks than sharks kill us. It's not even close. Now, a lot of people are saying, oh, why are all these shark attacks happening, say, in places like North Carolina or up in New England, where an 800-pound shark was spotted off the coast of New Jersey, or up in Massachusetts and Nantucket and places like that. People all of a sudden want to jump to climate change. They don't say, oh, the climate is changing, therefore the sharks are looking for different waters in which to feed, or the temperatures are changing and sharks don't like the warm water, so they leave. And so they're going to end up getting closer to people. No, it comes down to people who splash around and wear ankle bracelets. You look like a fish. Sharks do not have good eyesight. They have a good smeller. They got a super smeller. They'll bump into you, jump on you a little bit, just kind of, and then they'll figure, you taste disgusting, I'm out of here. So, don't be afraid to go in the water. Or, don't be any more afraid than you usually would be to go in the water if you're out there doing some 4th of July beaching. Or if you're, just head to the beach anyway. That said, I don't like to go in the ocean for a lot of reasons. It's funny, though. I mean, it's just like anything else that the media likes to take and run with. They do it all the time. They will take a story, let's say, exploding hoverboards. Remember the hoverboard thing? All these hoverboards explode. Well, go find every instance of a hoverboard exploding. Oh, it was real big in the news, so every local news reporter goes out and goes and looks for it. People getting in these scooter accidents or whatever it is. Police shooting unarmed people. That was a huge one. And I've said, with the, Mike Brown in Ferguson, Missouri, and then you had some others. They're all different. They're all different circumstances. However, it gets woven together. Even though every story is different. Like all these police shootings were happening for different reasons, but because it was a police shooting, they would look for, okay, what's in common about all these stories? Let's report on all of them all at the same time, and then now we've got a new epidemic. It's widespread now. Well, it's being reported widely, but is it any more or less common than it was back when it wasn't being reported? I mean, now everybody's a reporter, aren't they? Everybody's got a camera on their phone. Every video can be blasted out on social media and go viral. And this is a big country with a lot of people. So yeah, you can find somebody, that happened to me too. That happened to me too. But the numbers, the statistics still don't bear out it being an epidemic. So you can just kind of look at the way, this has been going on for years. I remember in 2001, summer of 2001 was a big summer for reporting on shark attacks. Because I remember this because it was right before 9/11 happened. So there was a political cartoon that had a shark, because of all the reporting about shark attacks, lurking, under the Middle East, and then on the shark, they write words like what it means. Political cartoons are goofy because they'll just totally explain everything right in the cartoon. It wrote war. It had a shark And it was like, the summer of the shark attacks. It's imminent now that there's war because all these sharks. It was kind of goofy, but I remember it. I remember that being a big summer for shark attack reporting. But still, when you go through the numbers, the actual numbers, there's no difference. So let it be a cautionary tale for anything that you seems like we're reading more about exploding hoverboards or shark attacks or police shooting unarmed people or whatever it is. Don't get swept up in the media's frenzy about these things. So yeah, you got a better chance of being killed while taking a selfie, falling off a cliff. So sharks have way more to fear from us. Guys poaching sharks, getting their fins, making that shark fin soup, which it sounds disgusting, by the way. We've got a lot of what the hell stories coming up. These are stories that, I'll pick up during the week. I didn't do that this week. I just looked today at all the what the hell stories. There are plenty. We'll get to them next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
CBS News update. In a court filing just released, the Justice Department says it's still considering how to proceed on an effort to add a citizenship question to next year's census. The administration was facing a deadline of 30 minutes ago to notify a federal judge of its census plans.
So we're fighting very hard against the system. That's a very difficult system.
The president says he's considering an executive order.
The president said that he is thinking about an executive order. He's also thinking about 4 or 5 other ways of going about this, and presumably we will find out more in just a couple hours.
CBS News correspondent Chip Reed from the White House.
The reason this is so strongly opposed by the ACLU, by civil rights groups, by Hispanic American groups, by immigrant groups, is they believe that if a question is on the census saying, are you a U.S. citizen, a lot of immigrants will not even answer, not even fill out the form.
CBS News update, I'm Matt Piper.
Brown Properties. They specialize in commercial and industrial real estate in all of North Mississippi.
He helped me locate a space and helped me get in so easily. The most professional, most accommodating person that I have ever worked with in my professional career.
I would absolutely recommend Jim Brown very highly. As a matter of fact, he'll be my real estate agent from now into the future for sure.
Hi, I'm Jim Brown with Brown Properties, commercial industrial real estate located in South Haven, Mississippi. Call me at 662-393-2255.
This is Clark Howard. It's taken as an automatic that the reason you want to move from being a renter to being a homeowner is it's so good on your taxes. Not true. At one time, it may have been more true, but the way tax laws work today, you don't buy a home versus renting because it's going to help you when you go to file your income tax. In fact, almost nobody except people who are ultra rich, who live in ultra fancy houses, they're the only ones that benefit from the mortgage interest deduction and some amount potentially of the property tax. But that has been affected by a new change in the tax law called SALT. So the reason you buy a house is because you want to live in one, not ever because of taxes. Remember that. Don't kid yourself.
Hey, Mike, how's the house coming along? Needs a ton of work. The pipes are leaking. Needs a new roof. The AC just broke. I just don't have time to do it all myself. You know anyone?
Oh, just ask Home Advisor. They match you with the best local pros for any home project.
Cool.
Yeah, you can read reviews and book appointments online.
What's it cost?
Actually, Home Advisor is always free to use.
Nice. I'll check it out.
Go to HomeAdvisor.com or download the free app.
Home Advisor.
Have you heard what President Trump said recently?
Newsmax, you like Newsmax. I like it too.
Now you can watch Newsmax TV and get the truth about Trump from Bill O'Reilly, Mike Reagan, Alan Dershowitz, Pat Buchanan, and more. Newsmax TV is America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in 70 million homes. Find Newsmax on DirecTV, Dish, Xfinity, Spectrum, Optimum, Fios, Uverse, and more systems. See Newsmax TV today. It's real news for real people.
All right, welcome back to it.
Yes, have some.
It's the Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990. We're online, KWAMTheVoice.com. The Listen Live link is in the top right corner. If you prefer to watch the show, you can do that too. You can just go over to YouTube. We are streaming live on YouTube. Nation of Jake, the channel. One word, run it all together. All right, this is the time of the week where I compile all our what the hell stories.
What the hell?
And these are stories that really self-explanatory. These are stories that are weird, that are odd, that are outrageous in some way, shape, or form. We've got some from the 4th of July. Check it out. A teen who attempted to rob a Texas fireworks stand Thursday ended up getting shot in the face with his own gun by one of the business's employees.
What the hell?
Well, listen, man, fireworks are not that expensive. What are you doing trying to rob somebody of fireworks? People always say, "Oh, you've got to be more, you got to be more sympathetic to people going out committing crime." These are people who desperately need, say, food. I get that. My heart goes out to people who are in that bad a position. But when you're stealing fireworks, you're just looking to go out and make some trouble. The attempted robbery occurred in Harris County, Texas, around 4 p.m. The 19-year-old suspect approached the stand, demanded money. An employee got the money out, put it on the counter. The deputy said when the suspect placed the gun down to pick up the money, the employee picked up the firearm and shot the suspect in the face. The teen was not immediately identified, was taken to the hospital in critical condition after having been shot in the face. It wasn't clear whether the person was expected to survive. You've got to be some kind of stupid to go try to rob a fireworks vendor in Texas.
What the hell?
In Texas, guys who sell fireworks, I'm surprised he wasn't packing himself. And then to be so goofy as to set your gun down. You set your gun down to pick up the money? You don't set your gun down in front of a guy in Texas? I'm telling you, the fireworks vendor in Texas knows how to handle a weapon, and he's not afraid to use it. So that was ill-conceived plan on your part, young man. But
what the hell?
Just had to have those fireworks. Just had to have the red, white, and boom, did ya? Well, there was another fireworks-related mishap. This one in Chicago, Illinois. At least 3 people were stabbed and more than a dozen injured in subsequent stampedes after panic broke out at Chicago's Navy Pier following a 4th of July fireworks show. The stabbings came after an argument broke out about 10 p.m. Chicago Police Sergeant Rocco Aliotto said that someone shouted "gun" in the crowd, causing people to panic. It's kind of like stampedes you see on Beale Street. Chaos. Just chaos. That's all it was. A 45-year-old woman visiting the pier told the newspaper, "We got separated from each other because everyone went in different directions when it started. But thank God, we all got back together. That's all that matters." At least 14 people were hospitalized for non-life-threatening injuries, suffered in the stampede. The 3 people with stab wounds were taken to local hospitals in serious to critical condition. Early reports that someone was also shot was false. A 4th person, who was originally believed to have been shot, actually suffered from a bad puncture wound from banging into an overturned table as he fled the scene. Man, that's bedlam, man. You got all those people. Somebody yells "gun" after there's an argument. Fireworks were probably popping off too. So that was like a true gun or fireworks situation there in Chicago.
What the hell?
How about this one? I know that a lot of people go out to minor league ballparks for fireworks displays. In fact, G-Man was telling me that AutoZone Park over 4th of July weekend, that's the biggest game they've got all year. And it basically comes down to this. Nobody cares about minor league baseball. Nobody cares about the actual teams. Nobody cares about the win-loss record. It's practice for Major League. Guys showcasing, getting better, so they can get called up to the majors. So it's real hard to get people out and interested in the ball team. That's why they got so many promotions. 4th of July, fireworks, AutoZone Park, go out to the ball yard, enjoy some beers, hang out for the fireworks, and then go home. Well, everything was fine for the Redbirds here in Memphis, not so much for the Port St. Lucie Mets down in Port St. Lucie, Florida. The New York Mets minor league affiliate ran into some trouble with its fireworks celebration. They're in the Florida State League down there. They had plans to put on a fireworks display after defeating the Daytona Tortugas to celebrate Independence Day. But the show at First Data Field in Port St. Lucie didn't go as planned. Photos and videos show an explosion and a fire behind the outfield wall. So I guess getting all the mortars and the fireworks display set up behind the stadium, something went awry, and it just looks like in these photos, it just looks like it's exploded. It looks like a major fire broke out outside the stadium there in Port St. Lucie. I'm happy I haven't seen anything like that around the Mid-South, because that can cause a wildfire. So when you go online and you see the Port St. Lucie fireworks display, you see a massive... What the hell? Massive mistake. A massive fire. Oh, here we have this one. This one has to do with running. All right? People in the running community, they're very serious about running. My wife is so serious about running and running these races, especially on the 4th of July. She left work on Wednesday, drove 6 hours to run the Peachtree Road Race, which is a 10K right in the middle of Atlanta every July 4th. Big deal. 60,000 people run this race. My wife has run it something like 25 times. So most of her adult life, hell, most of her life, more years of her life she spent 4th of July running this race than not. So she gets really into it. She went to Atlanta, spent the night, ran the race, got up, and then left. Just like right at 24 hours. So she could run this 10K. So people are really serious about racing and running, especially marathoners. Check this out. A 70-year-old retired physician who was accused of cheating in the Los Angeles Marathon was found dead in a river. What? The body of Frank Mesa, who was disqualified Monday after video showed he left the course in March during his record-setting time of 2:53:10. This was a 70-year-old running a sub-3 marathon. That is blazing fast. Well, he was found in the Los Angeles River by LAPD about 10 a.m. Mesa insisted he did not cheat. He insisted that before he was found dead. The cause of death had not been yet determined, but officials told the station that drowning is not suspected. Mesa's wife, Tina, told the Daily Beast that he had been rocked by allegations that he cheated in March and during several previous marathons by cutting courses. He had repeatedly denied the accusations, telling the LA Times that he left the Los Angeles Marathon to look for a bathroom and used a sidewalk for some time during his search before returning to the course. According to his wife, running was very important to my husband. He had been running marathons for the last 30 to 40 years. He was very fast, quite fast, and now, unfortunately, he won't run marathons anymore. Well, of course he won't. He's dead. That's hardcore. So he was found dead in a river, and he said he didn't drown in the river. I guess maybe cheating in a marathon is real serious business. What the hell? I mean, cheating is bad, but the fact that maybe somebody got angry enough that they, Mr. Mesa. Oh, we got some other shenanigans. We've got an Oregon bar has been sued for serving too much alcohol to a man who wounded his neighbor, killed his dog, and also killed a camel from a nearby wildlife preserve. That sounds like a wild night. John LaRue, age 49, claims in a lawsuit that Art's Red Garter Steakhouse and Saloon served his neighbor, Joseph Salmon, 32, an excessive amount of alcohol on July 1st, 2017. Salmon's grandmother owned the bar, which has since closed. Both she and the bar, as well as her grandson, are named in the suit, which is seeking $1.5 million in damages, $80,000 in medical expenses, and $500 for the value of the dog. So this guy got real drunk. He went out, he shot his neighbor, killed the dog, and then at some point, he made it over to a wildlife reserve and killed a camel named Camille across the highway at this wildlife preservation center. Just seems like this guy had a bit too much. And I don't know. I don't like blaming the bars for over serving people. But that said, maybe what were they serving him? I mean, what was he drinking? I've been drunk a few times. I've never done anything like that. Who gave him the gun? I don't know. There's probably a lot of ways. There's other. I've got all these other goofy stories, but we have to move on. I apologize. We have to move on. I bit off more than I could chew on the what the hell stories. Coming up, we've got Spider-Man. Spider-Man Far From Home with the second biggest 4th of July opening of all time. I'm going this afternoon. I'm taking my nephew with the star of Spider-Man Far From Home, Tom Holland, who plays Spider-Man, and Peter Parker. He has an idea for a new direction for Spider-Man, and I'm not really sure where he's coming from on this. We'll talk about it next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
There's now 3 ways to listen to KWAM The Voice. On your radio at FM 107.9 or AM 990. Online at KWAMTheVoice.com. And now, through our all-new mobile app for Android and iOS devices, just go to the Google Play Store or Apple App Store and search for KWAM. The new KWAM app is the best way to get Memphis news, weather, and traffic all in one convenient place. Listen live wherever you are to your favorite KWAM shows.
I can't get enough listening to you talk that stuff. Talk Memphis, oh yeah, talk Memphis.
And keep up with what's going on in your city. Download the all-new KWAM app today. KWAM The Voice, FM 107.9 or AM 990. Talk radio for the Mid-South in the palm of your hand.
Whatever you may be interested in, chances are you can find some valuable information in the July edition of The Best Times, now available on your local newsstand. Don't miss articles about elder abuse, the dangers of using marijuana, the value of lifelong learning, the myth of taking vitamin D to reduce development of type 2 diabetes, which CDs are best for you, legal documents that everyone should have to protect their assets, and so much more. The Best Times is available at all Kroger and CVS pharmacies. Get your copy today.
Free Talk Live.
Put up a barrier on the border.
Like a Great Wall?
I think that's secure. And then you put a moat underneath.
Holy crap, alligators in the moat?
You can put sensors on there. The motion detector.
Motion tracking machine guns, too. They just spit out some 50 cals at them if it moves.
I mean, ninjas. That's what we need. The border ninjas.
Free Talk Live, Sunday through Friday nights on KWAM, The Voice, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
Hi, this is Jim Shoemaker. Join me next Wednesday at 8 a.m. and again on Saturday at 9 a.m. with my special guest, Effie Johnson of the Neighborhood Christian School. We'll be talking about what's going on with our city and around the Neighborhood Christian School. Frank Allen will be here also talking about planning for the unexpected. If you have questions for Talk Money, email them to talkmoney@shoemakerfinancial.com. That's Wednesday morning and again on Saturday at 9 a.m. on Talk Money, The Voice, KWAM 990 and FM 107.9.
All right, welcome back to it.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake is on The Voice.
Yes, have some.
FM 107.9 AM 990. Online, KWAMTheVoice.com. Streaming live on YouTube, Nation of Jake, the YouTube channel. Catch up with me on Facebook and Twitter at Nation of Jake as well. All right, I'm going today. See, I thought Spider-Man Far From Home opened last weekend. I was out of pocket last weekend, and I saw it was playing, so I was like, oh, I'll go Tuesday for $5.50. I'll take my nephews. But Tuesday was opening night for Spider-Man Far From Home. So July 2nd, they call this the July 4th opening on the holiday, and Spider-Man Far From Home was all sold out around here. All you could get was like front row tickets for full price. And I'm like, nope, not sitting in the front row for full price. Not going to do that. So I missed out on it on opening night. But I'm going to go today. I want to take my nephew Alex to go see Spider-Man. All right, and I hope it's better than that Spider-Verse movie that everybody in the world, everybody told me that it was mind-blowing, it was great, and it's the best superhero movie of all time. And then I watched it on Netflix the other day and I fell asleep. And it was not the best superhero movie of all time. It was a pretty good comic book movie. It was fun to watch for a little bit until I just fell asleep. I'm sorry, you overhyped it. Don't overhype stuff. Stop with the overhyping. No movie you see is the greatest movie you've ever seen. You don't know that until much, much later. Much later. So don't ever go see a movie and say, this is the greatest movie I've ever seen. Stop overhyping. Stop it. You ruin movies for people when you overhype them. I have actually been able to stay away from most of the Spider-Man Far From Home hype, which I'm happy about. I'm almost certain it'll be better than the Spider-Verse movie was. But it really comes down to, all the Marvel movies. Like they've set a certain standard. Like it's going to be pretty good. It just depends on what side of that standard does it meet or exceed your expectations. Because everything in your life, when it comes down to you being happy, comes down to expectations. All right, whether it's movies, whether it's your life, how it's turned out, it's all how it turned out versus how you expected it to turn out. If you make $75,000 and you got a nice house, you got a nice life going on, that is fantastic if you were somebody who never expected to reach that. If you grew up poor and you never had anything, and now you've got this pretty good life, then you're feeling great about it. You're on top of the world. But if somebody told you that unless you make more than 6 figures and have the biggest house and have a boat and say you're just at that 75,000 mark where you got a nice house, a nice family, then you're disappointed and your life didn't turn out the way you expected. It's all about expectations. All right, so stop overhyping stuff. That said, about Spider-Man Far From Home, I'm looking forward to seeing it. It turns out that Tom Holland, who is the kid who is paid to pretend he's Spider-Man, he says Spider-Man could be gay. And that's right. Right. He says that Spider-Man could be gay in the future. That his character could be openly gay in the future. Well, I mean, I suppose if somebody wanted to take it that direction, they could, but that would fly in the face of 50 plus years of Spider-Man, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? Spider-Man he was created in the mid-60s by Stan Lee. And in that 50 years, Spider-Man's had many love interests. All ladies. All of them. Mary Jane Watson, Gwen Stacy, Betty Brant, Carly Cooper, Kitty Pryde, Felicia Hardy, and many, many more. Spider-Man has gotten around a little bit. He's dated a lot of women. I mean, why? And he married Mary Jane Watson. So I don't know why how about this? If you want more LGBTQ representation in Marvel Comics, then how about just create new characters who are LGBTQs? Why not just do that instead of trying to make the other guy... Bye.
CBS News at the top of every hour. Serving Tennessee, Mississippi, and Arkansas. This is The Voice, KWAM Memphis.
This is CBS News on the Hour. Real news, real reporting.
I'm Matt Piper. The Justice Department says it is still considering how to proceed on an effort to add a citizenship question to the 2020 census. A filing has just been made in Maryland federal court in response to a court deadline from an hour ago. And CBS's Katherine Johnson has seen it.
The Justice Department essentially said we don't have any new rationale for adding this citizenship question to the census yet. We are still looking. That is what the Justice Department is saying. They had been given a 2 p.m. deadline to either kind of come up with a new rationale or at least explain to the court, explain to the lawyers in this federal case in Maryland exactly what was going on. So things are still up in the air now, and it looks like we're just headed to more court proceedings at this point.
President Trump hints at taking drastic action if need be.
We can start the printing now and maybe do an addendum after we get a positive decision. So we're working on a lot of things, including an executive order.
The aftershocks continue in California after a 6.4 magnitude quake hit yesterday.
We have had a total of 6 significant aftershocks in just 2 hours. At 4:09 in the morning, the magnitude 5.4 shook the area for about 10 seconds. Then in rapid succession over the last 90 minutes, 3.4, 3.0, 3.3, 3.3, and 4.1.
KNX Radio's Pete Demetrio. At its epicenter in the town of Ridgecrest, crews are out today looking at possible infrastructure problems like cracks in the road and broken gas mains. Salt Lake City police have recovered and positively identified the body of Mackenzie Lewick. City Police Chief Mike Brown.
Through tireless detective work and investigation, we recovered the body on Wednesday and were able to forensically confirm it was her.
The University of Utah students' remains were found in Logan Canyon Wednesday. Salt Lake County District Attorney Sim Gill.
This continues to be an open investigation. It is not uncommon for investigative efforts to continue as case progresses through to meet our obligation to the discovery of truth and the ongoing responsibility to collect all available evidence.
A suspect was arrested last week. A helicopter crashed off the Bahamas, killing all 7 people on board, who were all Americans. CBS's Anne-Marie Green.
It was flying to Fort Lauderdale, Florida. One of the victims is Chris Klein from Beckley, West Virginia. The state's governor described Klein as a billionaire mining entrepreneur and a coal tycoon.
On Wall Street right now, the Dow is down 24, NASDAQ up 37. This is CBS News.
She's brought us the world. Now, she brings us truth and understanding right when we need it most. The CBS Evening News with Norah O'Donnell, July 15th.
Are you more than $10,000 in debt? Feel like you're on a never-ending treadmill, staying in one place and never getting ahead with those minimum payments? Don't let the credit card companies bully you anymore. There are programs in place to help you get free of your debt, and you don't have to pay the entire amount you owe. The program at Total Financial Freedom can help you get debt-free in months instead of decades. Call Total Financial now at 800-899-8922. That's 800-899-8922.
There's nothing like meeting face-to-face, and there's nothing like Zoom to make that happen. Zoom lets you connect and do business across town or around the world. Zoom ties together all of your communication needs into one easy platform for video conferencing, phone calls, group chat, webinars, and your conference rooms. Connect easily from anywhere, your mobile phone, your laptop, or conference room. Zoom is how business gets done. Get your free account at Zoom.com today. Meet happy with Zoom.
Out today, the results of an Australian study in which surgeons were able to restore some mobility for paralyzed patients. 13 young adults with spinal injuries, rendering them tetraplegic, underwent 2 years of procedures to stimulate the affected muscles by using their own undamaged nerves. Most participants were eventually able to reach out their arms, open and close their palms, and even grab objects. BBC Health reporter James Gallagher has more on the study from Austin Health in Melbourne.
The patients still had some working nerves that were controlling muscles in their shoulders. These nerves were cut and then connected to other muscles that open and close the hands or extend the arms. They then needed intensive physiotherapy. Paul Robinson was paralysed in a dirt bike accident with no feeling below his arms and couldn't move his hands. Paul told me he can now feed himself, type at a computer and play wheelchair rugby.
I'm Matt Piper, CBS News.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans. 30% of Americans who are planning home improvements of $5,000 or more will pay for those renovations with a high-interest credit card. That may not be a great idea. A better idea may be to take cash out of your home with a Quicken Loans 30-year fixed-rate mortgage. The rate today on our 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 4.125%. APR 4.22%. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Rate subject to change. 8.88% fee to receive this discounted rate. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. License in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Did you know that the IRS is getting more aggressive these days? They're using private agencies to track you down. Don't wait. If you owe more than $10,000, take advantage of the Fresh Start Initiative, a program in place that can help you now. You can save thousands and possibly have your taxes forgiven. There's help for those of you who owe $10,000 or more, but it's important that you take action before these programs change. Call the tax experts at Oxford Tax Partners for a free consultation now at 800-575-1919. That's 800-575-1919.
Jake, where'd you get those boots?
But he's got meat between his ears. Yeah.
Welcome to the Nation of Jake on The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
All right, welcome back to it.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake is on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990. We're online, KWAMTheVoice.com. The Listen Live link is in the top right corner. We're also streaming live on YouTube, the YouTube channel Nation of Jake. Check that out. Be sure to follow me on Facebook, Nation of Jake. Also on Twitter, Nation of Jake. All good ways to get in contact with the program. On this Independence Day weekend, a lot of people took Thursday and Friday off and will continue celebrating well into the weekend, whether or not you're at a lake, hanging out on a boat, just banging around town. However you feel like celebrating, it's up to you because you're celebrating freedom on this weekend. Glad you're here. Now, a lot of people are talking about, of course, Donald Trump's salute to America in advance of July 4th there on the National Mall. A lot of critics were saying that this is nothing more than Donald Trump staging a MAGA rally on the 4th of July using taxpayer funds to finance a campaign ad for Donald Trump's 2020 re-election bid. Now, look, it was all overblown. Donald Trump did not roll in on tanks on the National Mall and take over Congress and declare martial law. All right, this is not what they said it would be. All right, he gave a nonpartisan speech. Here's another clip.
We will always be the people who defeated a tyrant, crossed a continent, harnessed science, took to the skies, and soared into the heavens. Because we will never forget that we are Americans and the future belongs to us.
You go, nonpartisan. It wasn't a MAGA rally. Anytime that Donald Trump does anything, though, he's going to have the advantage as the incumbent president. I will say that Democrats didn't help themselves. All these anti-Trump people who showed up, the protesters, did not help themselves by burning American flags at a salute to America on the 4th of July. That will be in a Donald Trump campaign ad down the road. You got to think about all these things that have happened in the past few weeks. All the Democrat candidates for 2020 agreeing and raising their hand when asked if they would cover health care for illegal immigrants. That's going to be a Trump 2020 ad. You're also going to have flag burners at the 4th of July salute to America. While Donald Trump is speaking, giving a nonpartisan speech, saluting America, you have people burning the American flag. All these things are going to come up. So in that regard, yeah, it could be a Donald Trump ad. But you could also use that at any other time that Trump speaks. Any protesters. But burning the American flag outside of the salute to America, that's not a good look. Not at all. I mean, not in mainstream America if we're talking about it. I mean, even Joe Biden. Look, Joe Biden is fighting a war right now. You know, let's pivot over here to 2020. You know, Joe Biden said Donald Trump did this to stroke his ego. Well, then Joe Biden's not only fighting against Donald Trump, Joe Biden is fighting against the left of his party right now. I mean, we're talking about the front runner, Joe Biden, who has been relatively quiet since he launched his campaign in April. Figured, hey, I'm the front runner. I'm just going to play not to lose. Well, now that's not the case. Joe Biden, since those debates last week, has had to fight a little bit. And he's fighting like a three-front war. Check out what Joe Biden has to do. He has to fight against Donald Trump and then also fight against the left wing, the AOC wing of the Democrat Party. He is warning them that, hey, voters are not that far left. All right, voters are not the flag burning. People do not like that. They don't like flag burning, and they're not the crazy leftist socialists that you want them to be. So pulling all the candidates that far left is not the way to go, according to former Vice President Joe Biden. He said in an interview that aired today, he took a swing at the far left wing of the Democrat Party, warning that the majority of Democrats are not way left and that moderate Democrats are more electable in general elections. And of course, that whole philosophy would benefit Joe Biden because he is the most moderate of them all, even though none of them are very moderate. I mean, covering health care for non-citizens, paying for their health care is not moderate. That's not a moderate position. You know, abortions up to birth and funded by the government is not a moderate position. And Joe Biden has all but come out for that. So you've got this interview with CNN and old Chris Cuomo. He says that a number of center-left Democrats won races in 2020. He said, that's what this election is about. I'm happy to debate that issue and all those issues with my friends because guess what? Look who won the races. Look who won last time out. And he's not wrong. There were a lot of moderate Democrats who voted for Donald Trump. Look at Wisconsin. Look at the Rust Belt. Look at the union workers. These are dyed-in-the-wool Democrats. These are blue dog Democrats, so to speak. Donald Trump was able to get them. He was able to take them from Hillary Clinton in 2016. So Joe Biden's not wrong here, but you've got very loud, socialist, far-left activists who are kind of running the show right now. And if somebody like Elizabeth Warren, doesn't help matters. She's a member of Congress. She's a sitting senator, along with Kamala Harris and Cory Booker. And these people are on board with all kinds of far left ideology. So, he goes into it about how he thinks Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is a brilliant, bright woman, but she won a primary. She did. She won a primary, and then Democrats win the general election in New York 14 or wherever she's from. So he's just trying to warn them that, look, all this stuff that you guys are out there arguing for, that's not in line with mainstream Democrats, and it could cost them. So he's fighting against Trump. He's fighting against the AOC wing, and now he's had to face this Kamala Harris stuff head on. She accused him of being a racist, having worked with segregationists back in the 70s on this federal anti-busing legislation. And in this interview with Chris Cuomo, he addresses how that all went down. He says he was not prepared to be challenged by Kamala Harris in the debate.
In fact, why didn't you fight it like this in the debate?
In 30 seconds?
Hey, what happens most in a debate, Mr. Vice President? People blow their time cue. You're the only person I've ever seen on a debate stage say, I'm out of time.
Well, we never had a place where you have 30 seconds, man. What I didn't want to do is get in that scrum. Do you think the American public looked at that debate, take me out of it, and thought, boy, I really like the way that's being conducted. They're really showing themselves to do really well. Come on, man.
But they're going to come after you.
Sure, they're going to come after me.
Were you prepared for them to come after you?
I was prepared for them to come after me, but I wasn't prepared for the person coming at me the way she came out. She knew Bo. She knows me. But here's the deal. What I do know, and it's the good and the bad news, the American people think they know me, and they know me. Since that occurred, I had the most sought-after endorsement for the mayor of Atlanta, a black woman who's a great leader, Mayor Bottoms, endorsement. I've had numerous members.
So anyway, here's the problem with Joe Biden saying that he was not prepared to face that issue from Kamala Harris. You have to be prepared for all of it. You're the front runner. They're going to come after you, right, Joe Biden? So how are you not prepared? Then somebody challenges you when you opposed federal busing legislation, that you were pushing for anti-busing legislation. And in fact, Kamala Harris came out and said, oh yeah, listen, busing is a tool that I think can be useful, but I don't necessarily think that it should be mandated by the federal government. I think that each different school district should get together and use that tool. So she used this as a dirty trick to have her moment, really. Because now she's coming out and saying, oh, yeah, I'm not for federal mandated busing. I mean, Joe Biden was in a unique position here. He could have said, oh, yeah, I pushed for anti-busing legislation back in the 70s. And as we've seen, busing was a disaster. Busing had ill consequences, unintended consequences that were not good for school systems and for kids, both white and black. It was a bad idea, and I opposed it. Why didn't you do that, Joe? Why instead of, oh, I'm out of time. I'm out of time. Like, he didn't want to get into it. He could have absolutely obliterated, changed the entire narrative, but he didn't. Because he's scared. Joe Biden's scared of saying the wrong thing. He's playing not to lose at this point. And so, look, that kind of game plan is a loser. It's not going to happen. It's not going to work in this crowded field, and it's not going to work against Donald Trump in 2020 should he be the nominee. So, I mean, that's kind of where you are. Joe Biden is now trying to have to go out. He's going out there, and he's trying to have to spin everything. And now he's fighting back instead of being prepared to bet. Look, he knew he was going to have to face questions about the whole Hyde Amendment flip-flop, about sniffing women, about plagiarizing, and having worked with James Eastland in the Senate back in 1978. He knew all these things. He should have had an answer for everything, but he did not. Why not? I don't know. And he just thinks, yeah, everybody knows me. I'm Joe. Yeah, I got the endorsement of the mayor of Atlanta. Big deal. Who cares? That lady just got there. Nobody likes her. All right, coming up, we're going to talk to Ron Hart, catch up with him. What happened with this jobs report? What's going on with the economy? Why does the stock market dip when there's a good jobs report? That's an interesting question that I hope that Ron can help us out with. We'll talk to Ron next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
Wildlife solvers can rid your home of unwanted animals. Now, you may have heard about my raccoon saga. A family of raccoons moved into my attic, the mama raccoon and her babies. I fought with them for weeks, and then I called wildlife solvers, and within a few days, the raccoons had just vacated the premises. They up and left. Wildlife solvers can remove rats, possums, squirrels, bats, moles, snakes, birds, you name it. They also repair any damage done to your home and prevent unwanted visitors from coming back. If you hear odd sounds coming from your walls or roof, contact Wildlife Solvers at 485-5564. They've got 25 years experience, free estimates, and animal removal is 100% guaranteed. 485-5564 for Wildlife Solvers, online at wildlifesolvers.com.
I'm Ed Harrell, author of The Kindness Revolution. Perhaps no one other than their parents has more influence over the development of our children than their teachers. And right now, thousands of teachers across the country are getting ready for the school year, investing their time and often their own money in preparation for the journey that lies ahead of them. So join us at the Kindness Revolution in saying, thank you, teachers. You're looking good. To learn more, check us out at thekindnessrevolution.net.
I talk with healthcare professionals to bring you the latest wellness information Tuesdays and Thursdays on Live Life Well. Listen in and get tips like this to help you get started on your road to wellness.
You have to commit to seeing what you've been doing, taking ownership of what hasn't been working, and committing to make a change. Because a lifestyle change is something that you're going to have to work at.
I'm Bernadette Davis, and I've got you covered every Tuesday and Thursday on Live Life Well. Listen in during the Mary Beth Conley Show on AM 990 and streaming live on KWAMTheVoice.com.
Brown Properties. They specialize in commercial and industrial real estate in all of North Mississippi.
He helped me locate a space and helped me get in so easily. The most professional, most accommodating person that I have ever worked with in my professional career.
I would absolutely recommend Jim Brown very highly. As a matter of fact, he'll be my real estate agent from now into the future for sure.
Hi, I'm Jim Brown with Brown Properties, commercial industrial real estate located in South Haven, Mississippi. Call me at 662-393-2255.
Triumph Bank strives to make banking easy for our customers. You have a lot of choices when it comes to banks, so we invite you to visit one of our local offices in Memphis, Germantown, Collierville, and Arlington to see for yourself how our team, backed by our state-of-the-art online and mobile services, can simplify banking for you and your business. Triumph Bank, invested in our communities and making banking easy for you. Triumph is a member of the FDIC and an equal housing lender. TriumphBank.com. Let's talk growth.
The Dave Ramsey Show, weekdays from 9 to noon on The Voice.
Why are we so dumb about education? You cannot wander into this blindly and just pray that money drops from heaven. It's not going to. When you do that, that's called student loans. And then 30-year-old you is pissed off at the 20-year-old you for doing the stupid stuff. And so don't do that. Have a plan. Lay it out in detail.
The Dave Ramsey Show, weekdays from 9 to noon on The Voice, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
Hey, it's Jake. You know by now that Just Windows Home Services does more than just windows, especially this time of year. Just Windows can pressure wash your patio and walkways, and they can keep those gutters clear so they don't become a breeding ground for mosquitoes and ants. Call Just Windows for a free estimate, 751-3934. That's 751-3934. Tell them you heard about Just Windows on KWAM and get 20% off. That's 751-3934, or get them online at justwindowsmemphis.com.
C. Brown Masonry in Memphis reminds parents to get involved with your child's education this upcoming school year. Get to know their teachers, their friends, and what they do in their free time after school. By staying involved, you give your child the support and guidance they need to succeed. This message is brought to you by C. Brown Masonry in Memphis. For quality work done right the first time, call 501-2771. 501-2771. And say yes to education this year.
All right, welcome back.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake is on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990, online, KWAMTheVoice.com. Streaming live on YouTube. The YouTube channel is Nation of Jake. Very simple to find. Also find me on Facebook, Nation of Jake, and the Twitter, same thing, at Nation of Jake. All right, yesterday was, of course, Independence Day. I was not going to bother anybody. Hell, I didn't even bother to come in at all. You were treated to the Independence Day not so spectacular, but now we're back on track on this Friday. We like to hook up, catch up with Ron Hart, nationally syndicated columnist, each week. This week is no different. However, I didn't see a column from Ron. You take the week off, Ron? What's going on?
No, I wrote about the 4th of July. You know, my Uncle Mac, who likes to celebrate the 3rd of July, the last day he had all his fingers.
Yes, he had a mishap. Old Drunkle Mac.
Oh, yeah.
I've read at length about Drunkle Mac.
Yeah, quite the man. Yeah, he's against gay marriage only because he doesn't want to weaken the institution of marriage. And the reason he didn't want to do that because I can't afford to weaken the institution of marriage because he and his wife can't stand to even look at each other right. So,
right? Yeah. Well,
any more risk.
Mac is a legend. Drunkle Mac.
Oh, yeah.
I always like hearing about him. What'd you guys do over the Independence Day?
At the beach down in 30A.
Nice. No blue green algae. No blue green algae down that way.
No, it's good down here. It's hot.
All right.
The wind.
Yeah, because you don't want to have to close the beaches on the 4th of July. We know from Jaws that the mayor of Amity Island would never do something like that. All right, so did you catch any of the coverage of Donald Trump's salute to America?
I caught a little bit of it. I was very proud to be an American. He must have been on medication and also a teleprompter.
Yeah, it was kind of odd, his speech, but it wasn't like the partisan hackery that everybody was afraid it was going to be. If you went on CNN, you would have thought that, he was giving some sort of, Hitler-esque speech with tanks in the streets, that it was bedlam, but it was actually pretty nice, I thought. What I saw.
Yeah, CNN hates him, of course. CNN right now currently is interviewing people on CNN Theater, the rape victim of Attorney General Barr. They figured Attorney General Barr or Mueller will be up before Congress. They've already interviewed potential rape victims who will play the role of rape victims.
Do a little screening. See who has the best story to take those guys down in advance. It's crazy right now because I was just talking about Joe Biden. He's talking about, AOC and that far left wing of the Democrat Party. He's like, you guys got to realize people aren't that far left in this country.
Right.
And so
he needs to push back on that. Yeah, he really needs to push back. Well, if he's going to win, I'm not going to give him any advice. I don't want him to win. I love to see him nominate Elizabeth Warren or some of the other Looney Tunes. But Biden and Mayor Pete, to me, seem like the only reasonable people in that party, of less and less reasonable people each year. Those two people seem to hold the Senate together better than most. Biden, is a compromiser. He's run government before. I mean, if you're going to have someone out of that party to beat Trump, it's got to be a moderate. But I don't know if the left is smart enough to elect someone who's moderate.
And that's the thing, though. Joe has this moderate brand, but lately, the guy hasn't really done much moderate stuff. When they're talking up there at the debate about which of you candidates would give free health care to illegal immigrants, and they all raise their hand. These guys just keep giving Donald Trump campaign ad material, don't they?
Yeah, they're idiotic, and I hope America can see through that, right? So I'm afraid America can't. So many people want to be given stuff for free. And if you vote for a Democrat, you really need to examine why you do it. Because if you do it because you want free stuff. You want someone else to pay for what you get, right? So taxpayers who will go to work every day, Del Poplar on 240, who bust their tail to go to work, they're paying for you. And you think you're going to hire government to go get more money from them. Just no way to live your life.
Well, yeah, the founders of our country, celebrating Independence Day this weekend, they fought for freedom, not for free stuff.
Right, exactly. I saw a great sign one time at the Alabama-Auburn game about 2 years after Obama got elected. It said, "Hey, Obama, where's all my free stuff?" It's like,
right.
Guys getting there, they promised all this free stuff, and you can't forgive student loan. What example does it send to people who didn't go to college, people that paid off their student loans because they worked hard waiting tables at night? They pay off their student loans. You're paying off the student loans with people who don't, who got like a gender studies degree and they're working at a coffee shop, and no, don't do that.
Well, it's also this about the student loan stuff, about the student loan giveaway by Elizabeth Warren or whoever else wants to. A few things here, man. Number one, this student loan crisis isn't as big a crisis as they would have you believe. Most people's student loans are pretty manageable. All right.
Right.
And then the other
thousands the average.
The other thing is it would be a giveaway to people who can afford to pay that off. People who went to college are in better shape than people say who didn't get to, not in all cases. All right, I don't want to say, but overall. But so you would essentially have people who didn't go to college and couldn't afford to paying the loans of the people who could and did. It would be a giveaway to the middle upper class and not people who really need it. And so it's
There's
just
no meritocracy in that. You know what I mean? If you come out, if you want to study engineering, which is a harder thing, or accounting, get a job that pays, or you study something like Chaucer or the Canterbury Tales, and you came out with no ability to get a job. Why do we need to bail you out? If you're so dumb to sign that document, we're not going to bail you out. The bigger question is the bigger issue is why is college so expensive? I've said this before. I could teach math with dirt and a stick in the dirt. Why is University of Memphis, which is a relatively good value actually, but say UT or any college, all the bills are paid for. So you have 20, 30 kids in the class. Why does it cost so much to educate these people? Where's the money going? And how? Why is the product so bad? Why they come out uneducated and angry at America? Right? You're indoctrinating. You're not educating. And we want our money back.
Well, yeah, because they're operating on the whole philosophy is, hey, how much does it cost? It's like, well, how much you got? Because if you can go get a loan and you can go get as much, there's an unlimited supply. Anybody can go get a college loan. And so you just got to agree to pay it back at these high interest rates. So, yeah, they're like, hey, limitless supply of money and then an artificially inflated value, then we can just charge whatever we want. It costs $60,000 to go to Rhodes College now.
Yeah.
$60,000 a year. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. And here's the problem too: is that nothing's changed in math, nothing's changed in algebra, nothing's changed in physics in 50 years. So why does it cost so much to educate these people? I still don't do college board. I kind of see it. They pay these professors to write these inane papers that no one reads, that, the publish or perish notion. So they write these stupid papers that only their couple of college senators read. They have words in them. You try to read one of these one day. Read a thesis paper of a grad student.
No.
A bunch of words there. They just go out of their way to be complicated. It's just stupid stuff.
Oh yeah,
So,
I saw an article. I saw an article about a lady whose her given name was Marijuana Pepsi. All right, so this woman's name is Marijuana Pepsi. So she decides to make her college thesis, her doctoral thesis, on names that sound black. And so she did an entire thesis on this. And the whole while I'm thinking, your name doesn't sound black. Your name is Marijuana Pepsi. Your name is just items you might find in a dorm at this college. This is right. Not so. But that's a doctoral thesis. Like you put you get the PhD for that, and I'm expected to call you doctor because that's something you did. That's number one. That's goofy. Number two, we're paying more money for those people because they're published, like you're saying, in journals that nobody reads. Is that right. What value does that have?
Class. Yeah, Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas, is running for president right now. She complains about the cost of college education, and she got a salary of $300,000 a year at Harvard under false pretense of being Native American, by the way.
Yeah,
she's making $200,000 a year at Harvard to teach one class, and she complains about the cost of education. The big professors like her, supposedly, they don't even hardly teach. TAs teach anyway. So right. The internet's so egalitarian. You go on the internet, learn what you want to learn when you want to learn it. Most people aren't ready to go to college when they go anyway. So it's almost a forced thing among people. Like it's almost like it's an article of faith that you must go to college among a lot of kids. And if there's 100 kids in college, maybe 40 ought to be there today. I think 60 kind of don't want to be there. Even the USC, the varsity blues girl, Laura Laughlin, her kid didn't even want to go. She's on the internet saying, I don't even want to go to college. Her mother's paying $500,000 to get her to USC. She didn't want to go.
Yeah, why would she? Her dad is the Massimo guy. Her mom is Aunt Becky, and she's already got like 1 billion Instagram followers, and she's an influencer and makes a bunch of money. It doesn't make any sense. Right. Hey, Ron, I've got something else for you, man. I know this jobs report came out. I don't know how much you've gotten to look at it, but it says that it blew away expectations, that the economy is still running pretty strong. 224,000 jobs added in June. Unemployment was near 50-year lows. But then the stock market got kind of freaked out. Why is there...
You're toward the end of a cycle. Yeah. Well, they're afraid of inflation, right? So you're basically toward the end of a cycle. I mean, if you have a job out there, I would encourage you to go in and ask for a raise. No one wants to hire you. If you're good at what you do, if you're a slacker, don't do it. But if you're 90% of you guys out there, listeners of yours, go in and ask for a raise. Now's the time to do it because the job market's tight. They need to pay you more for labor. They don't want to hire any, millennials or lazy or whatever. They don't need knuckleheads in there. So if you're good at what you do, now's the time to ask for a raise. That's that's a tight job market. It's the time to do it.
Right. It just seemed like kind of counterintuitive. I'm reading this jobs report, and then I see that the Dow, tumbles 200 points, and I was like, hold on a second. Why is there an inverse relationship there? It has to do with like interest rates. They thought maybe that a recession was coming, so they were going to cut rates. Does this all just come down?
Yeah, they're not cut rates down.
Right, so they're not going to cut rates now, so it just kind of was like, tumbled, but it's rebounded. It's only down like 29 points now. So it's just the stock market is so weird, and it cannot be a good indicator of the economy, can it? I mean, in some ways it is.
It's a leading economic indicator. The stock market doesn't tell you what's going on right now. It tells you what they think is going to happen in the future, right?
Right.
So the stock market doesn't. You cannot trace the stock market to current activities. It's that they go ahead. They price in probabilities of things happening. The stock market does. So if the things trying to fit the probabilities, it continues to go up. If there's sort of a little bit of a glitch in what the numbers are, then the stock market kind of digest it, moves a different direction. So it means they tend to trade up before recovery and trade down before a recession. So first of all, the economy is in really good shape right now for the average worker. It's in really good shape. Stock market may trade down while this happens, anticipation of Trump. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. Good job, do a good job. Do a good job, you get paid. That's the way to do it.
Well, Ron Hart, appreciate you being in the nation. To Jake, my man, be safe on the road.
Okay.
And we'll talk to you next time, bro. There you go, Ron Hart. I think that he was running into a little spotty patch there with coverage, so we'll just cut him loose and let him get back home safe and sound from his holiday there on the beach. All right, coming up, we've got Jerry Lawler in a little bit of trouble with his fans. How did that go down? We'll get into that in the news cruise and more next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
CBS News Update. The Justice Department signaled to a federal judge in Maryland that they're still fighting to place the citizenship question on the census, something Mr. Trump insists he wants, no matter what it takes.
We're thinking about doing that. It's one of the ways. We have 4 or 5 ways we can do it. It's one of the ways, and we're thinking about doing it very seriously. We're doing well in the census.
But the Justice Department was unable to provide a different rationale for adding the question, as the Supreme Court has insisted is necessary to successfully and legally do so. CBS's Catherine Watson with more on the afternoon court filing.
The Justice Department and the Commerce Department are left with having to come up with a better rationale for adding this question to the census. They're going to have to do that no matter what, because the Supreme Court said, hey, you're within your rights to add this question, but you can't do it the way you did, and you have to go back to the drawing board.
CBS News Update, I'm Matt Piper.
Did you know that your potential customers look at your website and determine your credibility within 8 seconds? Make sure your business reflects the quality service you provide. Contact Control Alt Design for a free quote today. Today's marketplace is very competitive, and you need a professional web presence. Control Alt Design offers web design at a fraction of what the larger firms charge. Control Alt Design has been helping local businesses stand out on the web for over 20 years. They also offer logo design, business card design, flyers, brochures, and more. See their work today at ControlAltDesign.com.
Don't miss Maine and Mulberry Live every Thursday morning at 8 right here on KWAM The Voice. Maine and Mulberry Live explores the crossroads of modernization and small-town tradition, exemplified in Collierville, Tennessee. Host Keith Essery sits down with local entrepreneurs, thriving businesses, city officials, and thought leaders right here every Thursday at 8 a.m. Tune in and learn how a town comes of age with economic growth. Maine and Mulberry Live is brought to you by John Green & Company Realtors, building neighbors for 40 years.
Wake up, Memphis, wake up. Tune in every Saturday at 2 p.m. to Wake Up Memphis from Beyond the Badge. To be informed of hard-hitting issues like public safety, police community relations, and how your tax dollars are being spent. Join in on the conversation to share the facts. Sponsored by the men and women of the Memphis Police Association that protect this city every day. Remember, every Saturday, 2 p.m., Wake Up Memphis from Beyond the Bag, here at KWAM.
Now on FM 107.9 and AM 990.
This is Clark Howard. If you're accustomed to your power bills going up and up and up year after year after year, know that the marketplace is now supplying much cheaper power. And only if you live in a state with a monopoly power company are you having to pay more money, because if the free market is allowed to do its thing, the cost of power has gotten way cheaper. Why? Because of the breakthrough in the cost of installing wind and solar. And wind and solar have become so reliable and now have come up with new ways to deal with the problems when the sun's not shining or the wind's not blowing, that it's become ultra reliable power that saves you, as somebody paying a power bill, huge money. And this is only going to get better from here. In the future, you're going to be able to install your own power plant at home.
The backyard's looking great, Rob.
Thanks, man. I was planning on adding a deck, too. Know any good contractors?
Why don't you just ask Home Advisor?
Home what?
HomeAdvisor.com. You just tell them about your project and they match you with local pros that can do the job.
Nice. Now, how much does it cost?
Oh, Home Advisor's totally free to use. Plus, you can read customer reviews, check pricing, and book appointments for free.
What's the website again?
HomeAdvisor.com. Or just download the free Home Advisor app.
Home Advisor.
Have you heard what President Trump said recently?
Newsmax, you like Newsmax. I like it too.
Now you can watch Newsmax TV and get the truth about Trump from Bill O'Reilly, Mike Reagan, Alan Dershowitz, Pat Buchanan, and more. Newsmax TV is America's fastest-growing cable news channel, now in 70 million homes. Find Newsmax on DirecTV, Dish, Xfinity, Spectrum, Optimum, Fios, Uverse, and more systems. See Newsmax TV today. It's real news for real people.
All right, welcome back.
Yes, have some.
It's the Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990. We're online, KWAMthevoice.com, streaming live on Facebook. Check that, YouTube, streaming live on YouTube. Nation of Jake is the channel. Subscribe, get the notifications of whenever I go live. Because who knows, I might go live sometime like at midnight. You know, some nights I might just got to get something off my chest and just do an impromptu Nation of Jake show like at, 2 a.m. I'm sure you'll love to get that notification on your phone, wouldn't you? Also, hit me up on Twitter at Nation of Jake. There's not a lot going on, at least in the local news, but we still have to catch this boat. I mean, hell, we paid for it, didn't we? It's called the News Cruise. It's fantastic. Get out on the boat on an Independence Day weekend. Smell that ocean air. Let's go.
News. Exciting and new. Come aboard. We're expecting you. The News Cruise. Full of exciting news. The News Cruise. So relax and kick off your shoes.
All right, welcome aboard the News Cruise, brought to you by our friends at Just Windows Home Services. They're online, justwindowsmemphis.com. They can clean windows and clean off your patios and walkways with their 2,000 PSI pressure washer. Just call Steve. He'll be right over with it at Just Windows Home Services. They can also clean out your gutters. They can change floodlights that are way up high. Whatever you need done around the house that you yourself don't want to do or just don't have the means to do, the guys at Just Windows Home Services can probably help. 751-3934. That's 751-3934. And if you tell them you heard about Just Windows on the Nation of Jake, they'll give you 20% off the free estimate. Can't beat it. JustWindowsMemphis.com. All right. Well, it looks like this holiday weekend that a lot of the reporters at all the local news outlets are just kind of taking it easy too, because there's not a lot going on. Can't imagine that there's not a lot going on, but there's not a lot being reported. And, outside of your, shooting here and there. I think a guy shot somebody over a matter of $50, which is always sad to see. But we don't do TV news on the radio here in the Nation of Jake. I'm not going to report on every murder, fire that goes on in the city. And apparently today, neither is anybody else. All right, so we'll jump into it with some stuff that's happening. Some of the stuff around town, but mostly stuff nationally. Right now, I'm reading and hearing that President Donald Trump is looking at getting that census question, the citizenship question, on the census through other means, maybe through an executive order. It seems counterintuitive that in a census that we wouldn't ask about the citizen status of those being surveyed. It seems like a pretty important question when you're trying to determine the population of the country, doesn't it? Or are you less concerned with the population, like the official population, how many citizens are there of the United States, and you just want to know how many people are currently in the United States? I mean, it seems like those are two different things, and you would want to somehow differentiate. How do you do that without the citizenship question? All right, and so Donald Trump is now, the Department of Justice is saying they are looking for alternate routes to get that question on. I know it's a big controversy because it's Donald Trump, right? It's a big controversy because it's him. Just like his salute to America on the 4th of July. They're saying, oh, this is Donald Trump trying to make it about him. No, it was the media trying to make it about him. Because I listened to the speech. I didn't see anything wrong with it other than his airports flub. I'm almost certain that there were not airports during the Revolutionary War. There was no manned flight. So I don't think that George Washington was seizing the airport. And so, but if that's the only thing, if that's it, oh, he said airports. If that's the only objectionable thing that people can find about the salute to America, I'm sorry, Trump won that one. And also people burning flags at a July 4th celebration, all that footage is going to find itself into a Trump ad. And so this is shaping up to be a pretty good holiday weekend for Donald Trump. We got 224,000 jobs in the June jobs report. The unemployment rate a little bit higher at 3.7%, but still near 50-year lows. Wage growth was up 3.1% year over year. Stocks opened lower, and that's where I was trying to get somewhere with Ron Hart on that, about stocks were down like 200 points. It really comes down to this, I think, and I've gotten to this conclusion talking to Ron Hart about it. The stock market is really volatile because it's based on what the investor class thinks, like their immediate impressions of something. Oh, big jobs report. Oh, that means we're not in a recession and they're not going to cut interest rates. We thought they were going to cut interest rates. In fact, we were counting on it, and so they get freaked out a little bit, pull some of their money back, and then the stock market drops. Look, I'm not an investor. I'm not a finance guy. But that seems reasonable, a reasonable explanation as to why you would have a seemingly inverse relationship between a good jobs report and the stock market. Seems like those things should be, that should be a correlation. Like that should be a parallel line. Instead, it was perpendicular. So, I don't know. But more locally, though, this is a story that's getting out there on social media. And Channel 5, I believe, has this story, WMC Action News 5. Jerry Lawler is in a little bit of a tough spot. Apparently, someone Jerry Lawler worked with on a podcast, a guy named Glenn Moore, had been promising fans that Jerry Lawler would do some commissioned artwork for them. All right, so there was a situation where this Glenn Moore, podcast partner of Jerry Lawler, told a young man named Jason Lurie that Jerry Lawler would draw a picture for him. And he did. And it cost him $250, and he was very happy with it. So happy with it that he gave Glenn Moore $1,500 for Jerry Lawler to paint a picture of his cat. So Jason Lurie is expecting to get this great piece by Jerry Lawler, painting a picture of his cat. Number one, he's a huge Jerry Lawler fan. Who isn't? Jerry the King Lawler painting my cat? Are you kidding me? That's worth $1,500. That's a bargain at twice the price, right? Well, the picture never comes. And it turns out that Glenn Moore was allegedly making these promises of commissioned artwork from Jerry Lawler without Jerry Lawler's knowledge. And the people were getting ripped off. And now Jerry Lawler feels bad about it and wants to make it right. Either Jerry Lawler is going to find a way to get these people their money back, because I think that Jason Lurie wasn't the only one who was ripped off, or he's going to try to complete the artwork that they were promised. So that's a pretty stand-up move by Jerry Lawler. People including Jerry Lawler, all got taken advantage of by this Glenn Moore character, allegedly, according to WMC Action News 5. And I'll go ahead and tell you right now, in case you didn't know, Jerry Lawler is a phenomenal artist. The guy is a phenomenal artist. Earl, have you ever seen any of Jerry Lawler's work?
Yeah, I have, and that's what he wanted to be, was a cartoonist.
Yeah, he wanted to be a cartoonist, graphic designer. In fact, Jerry told me the whole story one day. He said that he was going to go to school. He was going to go to University of Memphis for graphic design, and what he would do when they would report on wrestling, he would draw pictures of what went down, and he would have like these dramatic photos, kind of like a court reporter would in a trial. And so he would give these to Lance Russell, and they would use his pictures. But then, he got in there with Lance and those guys who kind of ran the Memphis wrestling, and then he ended up being the Memphis wrestler and a big wrestling star. But if you go see Jerry Lawler at the comic conventions or wherever you're out and about, the guy has the talent. He could ink a major comic book. I mean, he's that good at it. So yeah, I can see why somebody would pay $1,500 for some of his art, because it is outstanding. But Jerry Lawler's kind of unfortunately he was surrounded by some people who took advantage of him as well as his fans. But good on Lawler for trying to make it right. We can say that. By the way, Memphis Zoo is now offering valet parking, which could be a pretty nice addition, especially given the parking controversies that were going down at the zoo with the Greens Ward and whatnot, that big fight. And also, Joey Chestnut retains his title at the 2019 Nathan's Famous Hot Dog Eating Contest. It looks like Joey Chestnut was able to, let's see, he put down 71 hot dogs? Yeah, 71 hot dogs this year in 10 minutes. So he is still the champion of the Nathan's Famous Hot Dog Eating Contest. So nobody's been able to take him down. Nobody. All right, coming up, we've got some sad news about an American institution that will no longer be. We'll talk about that and get you set up for the Earl Farrell program. We'll do it next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
Wildlife solvers can rid your home of unwanted animals. Now, you may have heard about my raccoon saga. A family of raccoons moved into my attic, the mama raccoon and her babies. I fought with them for weeks, and then I called wildlife solvers, and within a few days, the raccoons had just vacated the premises. They up and left. Wildlife solvers can remove rats, possums, squirrels, bats, moles, snakes, birds, you name it. They also repair any damage done to your home and prevent unwanted visitors from coming back. If you hear odd sounds coming from your walls or roof, contact Wildlife Solvers at 485-5564. They've got 25 years experience, free estimates, and animal removal is 100% guaranteed. 485-5564 for Wildlife Solvers, online at wildlifesolvers.com. If you're thinking about buying or selling a home, stop. Don't do anything until you talk to my man, James Underwood. James Underwood has been helping people like you navigate the Mid-South real estate market for more than a decade. So whether you're looking to buy your first home or you want to upgrade to your forever home, James Underwood can help make it happen. No gimmicks, no guarantees, just a rock-solid guy that I've known for 25 years. So now, if you're looking to buy or sell a home, hit up James Underwood with CryLike. JamesUnderwood.crylike.com. That's JamesUnderwood.crylike.com.
Looking for a cool way to get a new home comfort system without breaking the bank? The Advantage program from Service Experts Heating and Air Conditioning gets you a high-quality home comfort system for one low monthly rate. There's no money down, never a charge for repairs, and seasonal tune-ups are free. Right now, get a new home comfort system as low as $99 a month and no additional charges ever. Call Service Experts Heating and Air Conditioning today at 866-EXPERTS or visit ServiceExpertsMemphis.com.
For expert service guaranteed, call 866-EXPERTS.
See website for license details.
This is Sherry from the 19 Strong Show. The politics in Memphis can be unnecessarily complicated and sometimes just downright shady. On Saturdays, the 19 Strong team works hard to dissect the issues and shed some light on the council and administration's decisions and how they truly impact you and Memphis. Join me and my better half for the latest council news and colorful commentary. On Saturdays at 1, join us for your weekly chat rant right here on KWAM 990.
The special event florist for the Mid-South is Lynn Doyle Flowers. They are famous for creating incredible floral arrangements and are available to fill even your last-minute needs. From the simple to the magnificent, their staff can create unique arrangements for your special occasion. Flowers always bring a smile, make someone's day, and for fast, convenient delivery, call Lynn Doyle Flowers today at 901-323-4521 or visit their beautiful new location at 6225 Old Poplar Pike.
All right, welcome back to it.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake is on The Voice, FM 107.9 AM 990, online, KWAMTheVoice.com. Listen live link is in the top right corner. We're also streaming live on the YouTube channel, Nation of Jake. Same on Facebook and Twitter, Nation of Jake, wherever you go on the internet. All right, I was sad to see this today. It doesn't surprise me, but it saddens me. An American institution will cease to be. I'm talking about the one and only Mad Magazine. Mad Magazine was a big part of my upbringing. I always liked to draw. I like to do some cartooning of my own, not unlike Jerry Lawler. And the caricatures on Mad Magazine, top notch, always something goofy going on in Mad Magazine. Just that warped sense of humor that we develop. A lot of us got it by checking out Mad Magazine. Alfred E. Newman, the What Me Worry stuff, the Mad Fold-In in the back of the Mad Magazine. Earl, you were a Mad Magazine fan. It goes way back.
It's like I peaked about 12, you know.
Right. And it's about 7th, 8th grade, you know, and then...
It's really the first non-comic book comic.
Yeah, you know, it was political satire. It was, you know, movie parodies, all that kind of stuff that has now moved on to the digital realm. It doesn't surprise me that it will cease publication as a magazine. I don't know what it means for the online component of Mad Magazine.
I think they're going to continue as a digital. Houston Hughes is with us. He's an artist and also does a lot of political, satirical stuff on the internet.
Yeah, it's hard for that stuff to survive anymore.
In print, yes.
Well, in a lot of formats. I mean, the largest source of that online for the longest time was Cracked.com, and then they kind of had the same issue where they tried to host all their own content, couldn't make any money off of it because everything moved to YouTube. And so it's, the moment something gets a foothold in one medium, it's looking for another medium to move to.
It's not only that, it's also the internet and YouTube or Twitter or wherever it is. It's just kind of unleashed everyone else's voice, and you find out that there's a lot of really good user-generated stuff.
Absolutely.
So for a company to try to monetize something, get a group of writers together or content creators, when people are out there doing it themselves and taking it right to the market, it's really tough for any publication like Mad Magazine to keep it together. And it's also this like Weird Al Yankovic, who was no doubt, undoubtedly influenced by Mad Magazine. You know, he tweeted how sad he was to see it go, but you even see what Weird Al does and how there are people doing parody songs and they're able to snap them out like real fast. And so these entities, record labels or magazines or television stations, they're having a hard time keeping up with the demand that people want because we want it now, and we're used to that immediacy. Whereas who's going to wait a month on a magazine?
Yeah, that was the thing. It had to wait. And by many times, everybody's attention span is so short now. You wait a month, they don't even remember what the hell you were talking about.
Yeah, it's tough, man.
Yeah.
You know, I know people who write weekly columns, and the news cycle is at such a breakneck speed.
Fast.
It's like, hey, I wrote a weekly column, and 2 days later, nobody's even talking about this anymore. So yeah, it's just though I remember, you know, I'm from that sweet spot. You know, I was born in '78, so I got all the '80s and '90s stuff, especially in the '90s. When magazines, whether it was a Guitar World magazine, Mad Magazine, all of it was still relevant, and it was just making that transition over into the digital medium. I still look back, I'm like, man, think about just the artwork of the Mad Fold-In, the back page, where it would just be this really elaborate drawing, and you would fold it in, and it would be just something completely different. Just, I mean, so creative, and for them to even maintain, honestly, for them to maintain the brand as long as they did, I mean, that's rare.
What, 40 years or longer?
Longer than that, man.
Like 50?
I mean, when you were a kid, you were reading it, right? My dad?
Yeah, but I'm only 68.
I know. I know. Right. 40 when you were a kid. So, 60 years.
Right.
I would have to look up the numbers.
I was still just 8 then. So.
Listen, man, 60s do 40, so you're like 50.
39.
You're good. All right. Earl Farrell's up next. Houston's in with him. I'll be back Monday at 1. So long, and thanks for all the fish.
KWAM, your news and information station, with CBS News updates every hour on the hour. KWAM Memphis.
This is is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans.
I'm Matt Piper. The Justice Department has told a Maryland judge that it plans to move ahead with finding a legal way to add a citizenship question to the 2020 census. But there's no word on what new rationale it will give to convince the court to allow the question to go on the census. Law professor at UC Irvine, Rick Hassan.
It's really a question of whether they could come up with a new rationale and do so in a convincing way after the court's